Welcome to Laugh, Cry, or Die, a comedy disability podcast thingy what's it. I'm your host, Steve Wilbury, and with me is Naomi Strain.
Hello, I'm a little scratchy today from tubes down my throat yesterday.
Oh dear. And we have, as always, our current broken child, Lewis Wilbury. He
Hello,
is
broken child.
broken to pieces. So Lewis is having a pretty bad Crips flare today, so if you hear him randomly say, ooh, ow, it's because his nervous system is shitting a brick.
I need to hear because I haven't heard
So,
this whole new chapter.
so last episode, oh, and also we have a cat here. His name is Sammy, and he's legitimately a therapy cat. You can hold him like a baby.
So he's not a spaz cat, he's actually a good cat.
Yes, he's actually a very good cat.
Does your cat, like, my cat picks up on seizures, does your cat recognize when you need extra sort of love?
No, he's just really. Does he? Okay, he does. He also is telepathic, probably. Who knows?
Probably. Well, you're a magician, so you really should have a telepathic cat. That kind of just
Well,
goes
yeah.
over the limit. I like it. You're a wizard, man.
If you're crying, what does Sammy do?
He comes and sits on my lap.
Like a burb. So are you often sat on by burbs? Well, we need to do something because birds are robots. Everybody knows this. So that's not
I
great.
don't. That's how you say. What word are you saying there?
That's internet for speak for bird.
Oh, okay,
They're never birds, they're burbs.
okay.
Ask Gen Z,
No,
not my department.
I'm cool. I'm with it. Shut up. I didn't have a chance to go off and Google your new word. Sorry. So there was one time where I was in Wellington and I was sitting outside like a place, a cafe, whatever, and there was a group of teenagers and I was on my laptop and I literally sat there and Urban Dictionary'd their whole conversation so I knew what the hell they were talking about. I'm like, oh, okay, what's that? They're having quite an interesting chat, but I had no idea what the words were. The last I heard was that it wasn't anything scary. It may happen again, and it's one of those weird things that kids' bodies sometimes do.
Yes, yeah. So
Hmm.
it is one of those things kids' bodies sometimes do. It is not, however, a thing that will just go away. So it's not a demyelination of any sort because none of his tests have come back like that. He has complex regional pain syndrome, which is a pain disease where the pain becomes the disease.
I
And now last he just had a numb foot, really. He was sore, but it wasn't too bad. Now he's got really extreme allodynia.
What's that word?
It's sensitivity to touch.
Okay.
So like putting shoes on is really sore, although that's just more moving the leg, isn't it? Because you still can't feel the foot, can you?
So it's not like
Uh,
a sensory processing disorder. It's not that same sort of thing.
I guess it would technically be a sensory processing disorder.
Mm.
It's not like synesthesia or something like that.
Mm.
It's more that his pain level has been set to anything hurts. Everything is dangerous. His nervous system is just primed that everything needs to be labeled as pain because I might have my foot chopped off.
That sounds sort of similar to when you get your pain, isn't it? How everything's.
It's very similar.
Mm.
There's a specific set of symptoms called the Budapest criteria
Mm.
that make what he's got proper complex regional pain syndrome, whereas mine was more just chronic central upwind. His particular set of symptoms meets this Budapest criteria and it loops in the pain, kind of gets other systems involved. Like you can have weird things like your skin will get thicker,
Wow.
like your toenails will grow a weird shape.
Is that like
Bizarre.
his body trying to kind of protect itself?
I guess maybe it's your body's just kind of going and then your cells get all messed up.
What causes that?
A bump.
Because this has all come out of nowhere, isn't it?
Just a big old shot. Everything goes crazy.
A big old what?
Just a big old shot of pain. And then everything goes crazy.
So you're sitting there and you're feeling all right, and then all of a sudden it's like you're being stabbed all over.
Yes.
Or is it
Yeah.
just in your leg you're getting stabbed?
Just in my leg. A month ago, I woke up with a very sore leg.
Yeah. And
So
so at that point it was like just, that's odd.
Yeah, and like often with kids especially, it'll be a bumped elbow or a twisted ankle, and
Mm,
then you get this crazy buffet of symptoms.
mm.
So yeah, Lewis has
So,
a complex regional pain syndrome.
and so what's the future of that
So
disorder?
the
Is it disorder or disease, or is it a disorder?
syndrome.
Syndrome, that's the word. Yeah. So is
Um,
what's the prognosis going forward?
yeah, prognosis is good. 85% of kids who get it do recover, and it doesn't tend to recur, but it's a long process. The treatment is kind of the same as my pain disease. It's, physiotherapy, psychotherapy, occupational therapy, mirror
Right.
therapy. So this thing where you use a mirror to trick your brain into thinking your foot is the
Oh,
other side.
I love that stuff. It's like that magic, well, not magic trick. It's the thing they do when there's a
Yeah,
divider between your hand and a fake hand.
yeah, they did it on
Love that.
Magic for Humans, but yeah, it's just something your brain does. It's this thing, graded motor imaging, where the first step is you have to get them to identify pictures of their feet. So their brain starts to reestablish this connection that, like, or their affected limb, that this is my leg or hand or foot, because it's normally just in one extremity.
Yeah.
Then you have to visualize moving it in different positions and stuff, and then you do the mirror stuff to reinforce those things. So you kind of have primed the nervous system with these ideas of this is what my leg is, and
Kind
keep
of
pressing them out.
resetting the pathways.
Yeah. No, sorry, buddy. You need to see your friends and socialize and mobilize.
I just want to just capture that moment. Lewis was just then saying that he doesn't want to go to school today, as in hurting him too tired, painful.
Yeah, why don't you want to go to school today?
Oh, it's just normal kid reasons for not wanting to go to school.
Well, the thing is that he has won the cross country every year since he was 6, and
Right.
now he can't run or really walk very well.
So Lewis doesn't want to go to school today because of cross country.
And I normally feel scared because if he picks me up after the bus has gone cross country, I'll just be alone.
No, I'm not going to
Or
pick you up after
something.
the bus goes to cross country. I know that's a fear.
So if
Yeah,
Lewis you say normally wins the cross country,
yeah,
that as a spaz kid, that's one of the things that I think that we struggle with is when you can't do the things you've always done, and
yeah.
that sort of bit of a loss of your sort of normal identity of Lewis goes and wins at the cross country, and there's a situation where he might not be that kid this time.
And I think for us, we've had, much longer to cement our identities, but like as a young person, that loss of I'm a kid who runs around and plays like all the other kids, and then all of a sudden you're this other thing.
Frame of reference is a lot smaller. Like we've got lots of other things that we can call on about ourselves, but a
Yeah.
kid is still, it's a narrow window of experience, and so all those things are so much bigger. So you lose one of them, and that's a huge chunk of their identity.
Yeah,
So that's got to feel a bit scary.
can we talk about the meltdown yesterday morning?
Ah,
Well, this is what it's about. It's about
this is sure.
suspicious, sure. I'm not gonna throw you under the bus, but I think it's something that we can relate to a lot. Go on.
Lewis, with any meltdowns, don't worry, we've had them, so we get it.
And worse.
Yeah, I've Lewis, if it makes you feel better, the other day I was so sad of trying to deal with normal life and being spaz and all the stuff that goes on with that and with life. And I was so sad that I dropped a spoon, and that was the biggest thing. And I collapsed onto my knees, put my head into the wall, and went, "Ah!" And then curled up in a ball on the floor and cried so hard. I was making noise, and I thought the neighbors are going to hear, like, what the heck is going on? And I cried so much until I started giggling at myself for lying on the floor crying like an idiot. So we have meltdowns, don't you
Oh yeah.
worry.
Well, he was real. Do you want to tell about it or do you want me to talk about it? So he was having a real angry morning, like, punching the wall and stuff, just really fed up. And then, trying to get him to go to school just to have a couple hours of mobilizing and seeing his friends and stuff.
That thing about when they really don't want to, and still having to force them to go and do stuff and force them to have that social is so important, because it is easy to shut yourself away. As a parent,
And
that's got to feel messed up that your kid really can't or doesn't want to do a thing, and you have to say like, tough crap,
yeah,
you've got to go out
like
there
the,
and
yeah,
do it.
like you're like it hurts. You're like, yeah, it does. Now let's go.
Yeah, yeah,
That's because the more you don't do things, the more your body learns that I shouldn't be doing things, and you get this degradation. So we need to try
yeah,
and
yeah.
his pain is still going up, and we need to try and maintain as much as we can his physicality, and that means having pain. And you
It-
can't make it better. You can just say, "Yeah, it hurts," and give you a
yeah.
hug.
And so, is the pain level likely to increase?
It's hard to say.
That's a hard question for me to ask him, and probably for you to think about in front of your kid. It's like,
Yeah,
because you get to a level of I think I'm dealing with this, and then the idea that it might get worse is pretty freaky.
yeah. I mean, it can get real extreme, but that's typically when it's gone on for much longer. We've caught it not as quickly as I would have liked. We spent a lot longer thinking about physicality, but that's Western medicine, isn't it? But anyway, the point of the story was he really didn't want to go to school, and he was angry and hitting stuff, and he just kind of collapsed, and he was sobbing, going, "I'm just an angry asshole, and nobody can love
Mm.
me." And that idea, it's like we were talking about that Lewis has been a really happy kid for most of his life. He's got a great outlook. He's, a really solid, happy person. And then
Mm-mm.
at 9, to go from being a normal, happy kid to this ball of anger that you can't see any way out of,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, must be such a trip.
That's a really grown up emotion.
Like,
Yeah.
it's a lot to deal with. And that's why I'm happy to have him on the podcast, even if it goes a bit dark, because he's dealing with stuff most grown-ups don't have. Just the very concept that it is possible to wake up and have your leg hurt and have your entire way of life completely upended, like someone tipping over a cart.
Because
Or
I don't know, I think kind of like personally, because I don't have kids, kind of have this idea that they're, I don't know, very much in that moment. And so experiencing it right now, but not necessarily being able to look forwards with it. And so to judge himself as an angry
yeah,
asshole, that's, I don't know, I didn't realize that a kid would have that sort of I can't think of the words. That's
self-awareness,
that kind of judgment of themselves as more
cognizant.
than just what they're experiencing, rather than like, shit, I'm in so much pain, crap's going on. But to
Right.
have that opinion of himself, I think it's just like ego in the genuine sense of the word, not just being a, ooh, I'm
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah.
But
He's
yeah, having,
yeah, he has a very clear idea of, well, I presume so. Do you have a clear idea of who you are and what your deal is?
Yeah.
and so
You
do you
should.
feel like this pain thing that's going on with you? Does that feel like? Because I know personally, does it feel alien to you? Is it like, what the heck is going on with my body, or do you just experience it?
What do you mean by that?
So like,
Uh,
is it just you, is it, no, I say just, that's minimalizing, but is it you wake up and you're in pain and it's right now that everything's crap? Or do you think about what's next? Do you think about the future part of it? Do you worry about what next week will be like? Or do you worry about if you're going to get back to normal?
Just the now, not me thinking about the future.
That's cool. That's good.
well, that's the future is good, you know?
But I
Yes, you were an angry asshole at the time. That is 100% correct. You
That's
were not
fine.
wrong in your assessment. And that's what I was saying, is that it's all the time. It's fine totally natural to go through these kind of emotional zit bursts.
And with when he's feeling and being an angry asshole, what do you do, Steve? Do you let him
I
ride it
just,
out,
I
or do
just,
you
I
try and,
just give him I just give him a hug, hold him, stroke his hair, just basic care and love. Because when someone's in that much distress, there's no words.
yeah,
You
yeah.
can't take it in. So you just try and, or I'll go and get Sammy.
And how does that feel as a parent?
It's real hard because, you want to be the parent. You want to fix it. I think it's almost worse for me because I know there's nothing I can do other than just hold him and fix him. Where I think a parent who's like completely new to like pain or illness or anything is like, oh, they spend so much time with like, we have to find something to fix it and, do the
Sometimes
Western
there's no
medicine
fix.
way, whereas I can just do what I can and know that it's the best I can do. And it's very sad that it's not more, that I can't take it away because that's just what you want more than anything is just
Yeah,
to
yeah. And
have
you've
your
got that
kid back.
experience of what a constant pain is like. Like I said before, nobody else is inside your disorder, nobody else is inside your syndrome.
Mm,
And so they can understand to an extent, but not necessarily get it 100%.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so even though you're not experiencing Lewis's diagnosis, you can understand that constant and
The
that sort
the
of overwhelming aspect of it.
and that the loss of self was a big one. That was one I wanted to really touch on. I mean, do you think you're still an angry asshole, Lewis?
Or just an asshole.
Well, I wouldn't call a 9-year-old an asshole because
I
that would be
would.
mean. You would, but you're a jerk, asshole.
I'd call them right in their face, right in the playground.
He just commonly barge onto schools. Hey, Timmy, you're an
Asshole!
asshole.
Timmy's
And
always been
Timmy's
an
just like, what? And he just
asshole. Fuck
run
you,
off
Timmy.
into the forest.
He's sprinting off into the darkness. Fuck you, Timmy.
Just fingers waving in the air. Just like, Mom, the lady's back.
But by that point, I'll be far gone.
Indeed. And the mom thinks Jimmy's making you up. That's the worst part. Is
Yes.
that every week, somewhere, somehow, some spastic woman is chucking him abuse from across a field.
Sprints to the playground, occasionally falls down and has a fit. Gets up and sprints off. My aim is to drive a 9-year-old to counselling. Psychological testing on a kid. That's my goal.
See, then it turns from stalking to home invasion, and that's a real crime.
I couldn't hear Lewis then. Am I now breaking into children's houses?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why?
Right. So you're falling over and having fits.
And then you show up under Timmy's bed one day.
I'm gonna kill Timmy. Is that gonna be my fault as well?
No, you're not gonna kill him. You're just gonna be under his bed, and then you'll scoot out, go, "Hey, Timmy, you're an asshole," and then
I'm in his
dive
house
through
now.
the window. And then he's like, "Mom, she's under the bed." She's like, "He's not real, Timmy."
I quite like this. So am I in his house purely to terrorize him?
Well, yeah, that's you.
Yeah,
That's your
Okay.
whole deal.
And so I'm actually poltergeist in this kid's house.
Yeah. You know what you
Sweet.
should also do is before, like leading up to it, just like move his toys into different places, like throughout, like go full paranormal activity, and then burst out, flip him off, call him an asshole, and dive through the window.
Yeah, I just want to stand in the corner staring. Actually, it's a bit like earlier on. No, that sounds wrong. I should preempt that. I wasn't standing in a child's room staring at them in the night, but before you joined this podcast, I joined the meeting and there was Lewis watching TV. I think he was watching SpongeBob. And I said, "Hi, Lewis." And there was nothing. And so I thought, this kid can't see me. But then I thought maybe you were about to come in the room. And I didn't want to leave the meeting in case it ended it and you had to redo a new one. So I sat here watching your child watch TV, which felt wrong. So then I turned my camera off, which felt even wronger because then he couldn't see me. And then you came in after maybe 5 minutes of me just watching your child. And I was like, "Oh, please, Steve, please have trousers on," because you weren't aware of me either. So that was a nice
Well,
creepy start to my morning.
most of the time I wear trousers around my kid when there's a camera running.
Because otherwise, this is a whole different scenario. Timmy has got
Oh,
nothing to worry about.
Timmy's fine. The real Sif's call needs to be going somewhere else.
Wait, so what
Yeah, Naomi was just watching you through the camera.
Yeah. Yeah, like you didn't pick your nose or scratch your ass or anything, so you were good. You were safe.
Right. So before we got slightly off topic with Naomi's harassment of children, it was just, yeah, I think so. Do you still think that you're, I know you said normal asshole, but like, do you still think you're the same person that you were before you got sick? Answer the question. We're at work, boy.
I'm the same.
Think you're the same? Even though sometimes you can be an angry asshole?
Yeah.
I think that's good. I think it's because the lessons that you learn through this is that, I can be an angry asshole, and people who think they're perfect all the time are struggling. And it's something like Oprah said was like, the things that happen to you can be opportunities for you. And it's like, which is very easy for Oprah to say. But annoyingly, it's true in that, the lessons about self and resilience and worrying about your hair.
Well, I
Um,
mean, it's a big, I don't know, kind of lesson for kids, and whatever the syndrome does later on, learning that or experiencing that at this age, that you can have those moments of freak out and then regroup and try again, start again, and kind of, I don't know, forgive yourself or let yourself have that time to freak out. You don't have to be fixing everything and be okay all the time. And having you and Rachel around who get it, like you've got personal experience, and Rachel has as well through you, of dealing with those freak out moments. It's like you don't have to fix those. You're allowed to just go for it sometimes, like me clutching on the hallway carpet. It's like sometimes you just have to go with it and then try again the next day.
Just the old saying, like if you get thrown off the horse, you need to get back on the horse. And it's like, well, yeah, but you need to give yourself a minute to be on the floor and
Yeah.
thrown. You just fallen off a horse. Not a small thing.
You're allowed to sit
Give
down
yourself
for
a
it.
second.
Have a sandwich, have a drink. You're all right.
Yeah.
And now get
Then
back on that
get
fucking
up.
horse and ride around the paddock and jump over those
Yeah.
things.
Then get up, sit on a chair for a minute, think about, look at the horse, call it an asshole, because it is. It just threw you.
And so I mean, if you wanted to redo the phrase, it'd be, if you fall off the horse, sit on a chair.
I think that should be the motto of the podcast.
Really?
Fall
I
off a
like
horse. Maybe horse riding's not your thing.
yeah. Stop climbing on the back of massive animals.
You
You're
div.
being an idiot.
That's what like trying to live a normal life is for us. That's the metaphor. It's like, I'm gonna have a job and be normal. No, you're
Sit on a chair.
see this chair? That's your speed. Lewis, though, will eventually be able to ride as many horses as he wants. He's just temporarily in the chair box. So
Yeah.
so for the next chunk of the podcast, we're gonna hang out with Lewis and go along on his journey from pain-rattled, angry asshole to recovered person, and see how being a kid is, what challenges we go through, and hopefully it can be a bit of maybe a roadmap for other parents or kids going through trips, because it's shocking, more common than you'd think, and more difficult to treat than anyone I think can ever realize.
How common is it?
Rare. It's rare. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so we're gonna hang out with Lewis and see what challenges there are and what just what we come across. And it is rare. That was the question, is how rare is it?
So whilst he's poorly, he's great entertainment fodder, and we need to make the most of his poorliness and get all the crap out while he's poorly.
Well, the kids these days do the social medias with the
They know the words, they know how things work. And this old grandma doesn't get it.
I hear they can program the time on a VCR.
Want to record my programs.
I need my shows.
Grab my shows on.
Grandma, I know my stories. That was it. It's my stories.
I have no idea where we're from. I don't do accents. I barely do my own accent.
Right. We need to go to school now. So it's the end of the podcast. Bye, guys.
Bye.